coming in just any moment now. Yep, popping it up. What's going on, everybody? I am Adam Dryman. You're back for another edition of the Highest Regards Cannabis Review. We will be right back with you. What's going on, everybody? I am Adam Dryman, and you're back for another edition of the Highest Regards Cannabis Review. Tonight we have Nathan. Price or Pierce?
Pierce.
Pierce. I apologize. Nathan Pierce. He is with 406 Organix out in Shepherd, Montana. The exact address. Let's see if we can get that ticker up here right quick. We got super baked and started going over everything, and I'm telling you, the information went right out. But yeah, they're down at 13213 US Highway 87 North in Shepherd, man. You're going to be joining us talking about an amazing slew of things. Now, you're the founder of the MCIA, is that correct?
Yeah, the Montana Cannabis Industry Association.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the Montana Cannabis Industry Association, man. Tell me a little bit about what brought that about and what it does exactly.
You know, it actually came about because there was quite a few groups that were out there that had different, specific fields in the cannabis field, for advocacy and stuff. And we felt that there was a need for a bigger group that could be a bigger umbrella and sort of take on an entire industry and be, sort of an advocate for that industry. And a good group of people coalesced around that organization, and gave a lot of good time and dedication to it. And it started largely when they tried to repeal medical cannabis in Montana. The organization came together fairly quickly. A lot of good, people behind that. Kate Kliva, the doctor, several other people. John Masterson. They all, came together, really started a grassroots effort to, raise money to get cannabis, get a lawsuit going, and then also get some.
Try to pull just a little bit closer at all your bike.
Some legislative issues passed with relation to that, and has been pretty active in the cannabis community since. And making sure that the voice of the cannabis industry is represented across the state.
Awesome. Yeah, they said they're having just a little bit of trouble hearing you there. Try to make sure. Yeah, we're having just a little bit of issue with our soundboard, guys. So I apologize with that. There was some issues with some new equipment tonight, so that we are working with that. Let's see if can you hear it over there? Can you give me a sound?
Can you hear me now?
Sounds distant. I got a batch his divide. Let's see what I got there. Well. That should be about right there.
All right. Can you hear me now?
It should be about good on that. Yeah, there we go. Everybody's saying they can hear it a little bit better. So we are back and at it, firing off with the lavender right now, man. This is some lavender that you guys are growing down there. It's not a THR show if there's not some technical difficulties when the show starts. I'm telling you, we have a consistent, guaranteed run of some shit's going to go wrong. Even if it's going right all the way until the moment before, if it doesn't go wrong, as soon as we hit that go live button, it's like, what the fuck's really going on?
Well, you guys handle it with grace.
I'm glad it looks like that. I fall on my face, man. I'm telling you what. But it's cool. I've learned to walk that way. I'm telling you, if I had a Native American name, it would be He Who Walks on Face. Just whap out. All right, so we've got the lavender right here. We'll go ahead and pull up just a quick look at the lavender flower that we're going to be smoking on, and I've got a report right here as well. This is from Nordic Labs. This is who you guys are going through. Make sure I got the exact one for the lavender. I'm not used to seeing a lot of Nordic Labs. Oh no, this is the Amnesia Haze. Oh, let's see what I got. There we go, lavender. Here we are. So we got a 15.67 on the total raw cannabinoids. Total potential cannabinoid coming in at 13.8. THC 13.5, and then a 0.02 on the CBD. Terpenes coming with that linalool, myrcene, terpene, and humulene. Then your limonene, caryophyllene, and pinene. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, she's a pretty relaxing smoke.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, people will THC chase a lot. You'll say, oh, I need a 30. I need that 35. Oh, you got a 40? What? No. Honestly, a good 30, a good 13, 14, 15, I've gotten stolen off of them many times before, and I don't count them out. I had an Alien Apple Kush over at Frosty's, 13. I seen it on the chart, and I was like, that's a 13. I was like, let me get that one. I was like, that is being slept on, guaranteed. Oh, man. So let's see what we got going, dude. This is some pretty nice flower, though. I think did we smoke this the other day when I came by and talked with you?
We did, yeah. This is one of my go-tos.
Oh, will you do me one favor? Right next to that gas can, there's an ashtray. I'll tell you, I always forget something. Yeah, cool. So I actually found out I got to be careful with this thing. It is acrylic or whatever. And so apparently, cannabis will burn at about 450 degrees, and these can melt at about 290 something. So you got to make sure I don't leave the joint down in them or anything. If I put one down in there, it's a goner. I'd won this in a giveaway or something, and it's just always been my go-to ashtray. But
I'll try to remember.
I was talking to somebody today about it, and we got into conversation. I was like, you know what, actually, mine's actually got a couple of spots on it, like you can see right there where I've noticed it, and it's like, yeah, maybe cannabis gets hotter than the epoxy rosin or whatever it allows.
Well, that's good to know, so that in the future we don't.
Yeah, don't leave it in there and smoke on it. Oh, Deb Bennett is Mr. Pierce from 406 Organix, as well as the cannabis. Huh? Yes, the cannabis and Mr. Pierce are both from 406 Organics. Sorry, we were smoking heavily before we started the show. There was some technical difficulties with the equipment going on, and we got really baked right before we went live. So we just wanted to make sure that we could de-stress before we reviewed some cannabis tonight. So this is fairly smooth, man. It's not. I probably didn't do the best job of getting these colds packed. Like I said, I was a little rushed this evening with everything, but it's got a good flavor. It's not harsh. The stone on it, like I said, I'm not going super high on stone. This is a mellow stone. This is a relaxing kind of, or if you need to go to work or something, and you need to function and talk to people, I'd say this is that kind of high,
That's exactly.
But definitely a go to sleep. That linalool being up there is a really relaxation thing if you want to relax and go to bed, but not something you're going to forget you're watching a movie. You're not going to be like, oh shit, I was doing stuff. Like, fuck. Like this isn't that weed. This is just a really mellow, calm lavender. Like, yeah.
You're still going to remember your name.
Yeah. And I mean, I like lavender. Linalool is probably one of my favorite terps. It's actually a terp of the week with alternative wellness this week was linalool. And, just with the relaxation, the earthy, the floral taste you can get off of it. And, I mean, it's found in so many different things, dude. Linalool is found all over the place. And most commonly, lavender. Most people are like, oh, we love lavender. Why? Linalool. That's what helps you relax. But yeah, man, this is a good smoke.
It'll definitely give you a relaxing Sunday morning.
Dope, dope. Julie said I had a pre-roll the Alien Apple Kush from Frosties, and it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it wasn't. That was a 13. Like I said, those you can't sleep on those. But there you go. I about had a hiccup as I was lighting that. I was trying to fight the hiccup. So, some crazy stuff going on with legislation, regulations, the different laws, some cases people may not know about. Tell us a little bit about some of the legislation that has been hitting the House here lately.
Yeah, sure. So, one of the things that are really coming out with relation to cannabis and how it could affect some of the providers and growers out there, is there's a bill currently that's working its way. It's gone through the House. It's been transmitted to the Senate. That will really limit odor and indoor grows and make them have to impose a lot of odor controls. Some of these rules can be pretty onerous, if you really get down to it. And there's also provisions that state that if it's an indoor grow, they're exempt from the rules if they're a mile or more from a business or another home. Which I mean that's almost impossible in today's day and age, even in Montana.
And let's see what else stinks like a motherfucker that we can think about right here in town that is not limited to a mile from anything.
Well, absolutely. You got
the refinery, that factory down here on the south side that just fucking reeks, and they're like,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's part of the time. That's part of what. Oh, it's just regular. That shit sticks to their clothes. Those people go to work, and people are like, "Fuck, bro, I know where you live based on how that is." But weed is a problem. Like it's ridiculous. It's
and I think
absolutely
it's just
ridiculous.
And run around on some of the rules and trying to force people out of certain market spaces, and keeping them out of urban centers and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to complain about anything. People are going to start complaining about pizzerias next.
Bro, I mean, honestly, I could see that. You know why? Because every pizzeria I've ever been in smells like fucking weed. Because the cook's in the back smoking, or he either slipped into the cooler and he's ripping a dab pen or something. Every Domino's, every Pizza Hut, every Papa John's, I don't care which one it is, those people are getting baked.
Yeah, I agree.
I knew a dude that worked at one Domino's. He'd go back into the fucking cooler and he would slam a beer just in the time he went in there to grab dough and come back out. And I was like, bro, you
got skills.
Well, I was like, damn. Oh, Chavi says, Nathan, holy cow, how are you?
Doing well. How about you?
Oh, and Mr. Burns coming back in with the excellent, man. I don't know who he is. He popped up, bro, and I'm telling you, he really carries that persona of Mr. Burns out there on the Twitch, dude. Shout out to him, dude. But yeah, that's crazy. A mile. So if your weed is good and you can smell it outside and the wind blows the wrong way, you're going to have to move your shot.
Right, but if you're, somebody who doesn't have, very good weed and doesn't have any odor whatsoever, you're good to go.
Or, well, maybe it's just the grows, because if you think it, well, not, because the fucking storefronts read on a good day.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, there are rules that they're trying to impose in here. Like they're saying the way to measure it is to take 1 part of odored air and mix it with 7 parts of non-odored air, and if it regulates to a certain number, I'm just like, I mean, the state inspectors have a lot of shit to do, and to sit around there and walk around with a sniff meter and
I need a 1 to 7. I need a 1 to 7 skunk ratio in this motherfucker. Your parking lot's at a 4 to 7 skunk ratio, and we're gonna have to fine you.
You're growing the wrong strain, buddy. You need to get rid of the skunk number 1.
I mean, I feel like the solution is we just gotta start getting these inspectors fucking baked. We get them super stoned, and then get them enjoying really good weed. They're like, look, nah, dude, you gotta. This is not how this works. You're going to take it back and be like, look, man, we can't inspect it on this. This isn't real data. And they'll be like, nah, you can have a 7 to 7. If I find any more 1 to 7s, we're throwing those 1 to 7s out of town. 1 to 7 smell meters is no good shops. We're going to start finding those. The 7 to 7s are the good ones. That's what we got to start doing with these inspectors, man.
Absolutely. I think the better thing to do is just limit, some of the things that we throw at them. I think most of them find a lot of these rules ridiculous as well, and they would rather get rid of half of these things, but unfortunately, the law makes them look into these things and makes them do these things. And so right now, this is a bill that's working its way through the House, and if we can get it killed, or excuse me, in the Senate at this point, if we can get it killed, and prevail on the lawmakers to recognize the idiocy of this kind of crap and just kick it down the road, then I think we're going to be a lot more ahead of the game than trying to make the inspectors jump through all these damn hoops, which is ridiculous.
Speaking of idiocy in laws, you were telling me about one where you have to tag your plants, and then you go down the road and then back and then untag and retag, and this is something that the state says you have to do based on how your grow is.
Yeah, so I do a lot of consulting with cannabis businesses and stuff like that, and one of the things that's sort of ridiculous is if you have a dispensary and a cannabis grow location in the same area, or in the same property even, in order to move it from one area to the other area, from your dispensary to or from your grow operation to your dispensary, you have to basically turn it into, a package, and then you have to do a shipping manifest to yourself. You have to basically create an entire manifest that says you're going to go 5 miles or more down the road, come back with your cannabis, you're going to deliver it to yourself, and then you're going to check it back in under a different, package tag for your dispensary. Then you're going to, split it up from there into other package tags, and so the whole inability to just simply look at the same program that you're using to track this from seed to sale and go, this went from my, cultivation facility to my dispensary for sale after testing. I mean, I think that needs to be significantly improved.
It feels like it would be a rule someone made up to be like, we're gonna go watch him do it. We're gonna come up with a stupid ass rule that says he's got to go down the road 5 miles, and we're gonna go sit down there and just laugh at his ass and be like, that dumb son of a bitch. Like that just seems like some asshole shit that they would do. Like, because it makes no other sense. Why would you make a rule other than to just go sit there and be like, haha, I can make you drive down the street?
Well, when you can simply just make it part of the program that you're looking at and hit a simple switch and say, hey, I've transferred this from one to the other. You don't have the security risk involved of running down the road, taking, potentially, I mean,
yeah,
umpteen, pounds of cannabis down the road, and just like, here, by the way, I'm gonna run 5 miles and come back. I mean, so I think there's plenty of things that we could be improving on, and they're absolutely, failing to do. And so,
and it's crazy because no other industry has to do that sort of thing when transporting or transferring inventory from one lot to another.
None that
it is literally just they click it and hit transfer, and it goes into a different thing in the computer, and it is done.
Absolutely.
They intake something, they don't take it back out and then go down the road with it. They don't know. They just click intake, transfer into inventory, and then there it is. And then
that's exactly right. And even the people who are, part of the Department of Revenue and the inspectors, they recognize some of the flaws in the system, but unfortunately it's what they've been dictated by the law that they have to follow. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty like a catch-22 all the way around.
Absolutely. It's yeah, like Deb said, it's just so ridiculous. They're making things so hard for you guys. I get having regulations for safety, like, making sure the cannabis is safe to consume, that there's not any extra particulates in the cannabis. You ain't got rat doo-doo in your buds, like I've heard some other folks, but at the same time, like going down and you wonder why you have to pay more for your weed. Like, because now I have to cover cost of driving 5 miles down the road and then back down to the house and then back up there. And then I have to pay for each one of these tags and time consumption and employee time. And yeah, and your weed could be cheaper if they just back the fuck off. I'm not lying on that one. Like, I get safety and having compliance on safe cannabis, but at the same time, that there's nothing safe about what you just said. Like you said, going down the road sounds just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't add anything to the process. It doesn't add anything to the security of the process, and I think it takes away from it. The other thing that I would say is that, with all of these things, like you said, it increases the cost. You know, there's a lot of time that you have to spend on compliance, just dealing with stickers and tags and all kinds of things. And there's tons of people out there I know that, have go through this every day that are much larger than our organization. And they have to employ, a full-time staff just to deal with the damn compliance issue. And people are like, well, why isn't my cannabis a little bit cheaper? Well, we would love to make it a lot cheaper, but when the state's taking 24% in taxes, from a cannabis business.
Yeah, and they're talking about increasing that. Like shit.
Absolutely. And the Small Business Administration says 21% profitability for a business, a small business is good, and you're already taking 24% off the top. I mean, it's making it pretty hard to try to reduce those costs.
Yeah, you're fighting a 3% deficit before you even got in the game.
That's exactly right.
That's yeah. They tied
and no other business has to deal with that.
Yeah, and it's not fair. And then they want to take the money and be like, hey, give it to us, but don't talk about it. Don't bitch about it. Don't complain about it. Give us the money and be happy that we let you give us money. Like
that's exactly right. And like we have another bill that's working its way through. Billings representative introduced it that basically eliminates any kind of advertising for cannabis whatsoever. Got to take your brand off of your bags, everything else like that. Plain white bags, no kind of. I mean, just completely homogenized. No
up.
Creativity whatsoever. I understand keeping it away from children and making it non-attractive to children. I think that's a really good policy.
Right.
But I mean, to say that you can't be seen after you've supplied almost $50 million worth of tax revenue to the state, I think that's a pretty good slap in the face.
Right. While no appealing to children is important. We don't want it to appeal to kids, but we do want to be fair. And you want to talk about appealing to children, this is something that just actually dropped. I had seen online, High C. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not much of a drinker, but the kid in me kind of wants to give it a try. Just I would give it a taste to see if it tasted like High C, but then I bet you it doesn't. I bet you it doesn't. It's like all those other things. And then I seen Sunny D is doing a vodka seltzer, and it's got Sunny D plastered all over it. So alcohol can appeal to the children or the child in anyone, and then cannabis can't put a label on a bag or on their store or out at a function. They can't do anything. It just doesn't make sense at all, like the world we live in.
No, it doesn't make sense, especially after we've contributed so much to the tax revenue of the state. I mean, we've contributed more in 1 year than alcohol and the tobacco excise taxes combined. I think they're somewhere around 30 million. We're close to $50 million in cannabis tax revenue. So, I mean, just in that, in and of itself, shows that the people really support cannabis just in the way that they voted with their dollars.
Right. That's crazy. And then they're taking that money right now just in the town. They're using the money from cannabis to fuel legal battles against cannabis and push some of these shops out of town. And I think there's 14 on the list that were like, hey, you've moved in. We told you could be here. You got your permits. You got approved. You followed the rules. You paid your taxes. You increased the infrastructure. But now we think you need to get the fuck out.
I mean, yeah.
What the fuck?
They're definitely cutting off their nose to spite their face.
What the fuck? Like, I mean, and how can you not see, like, how dirty that is? Like, it's like, yeah, you built your house. You made it look all nice. You paid me while you made the house look nice, but now I need you to get the fuck out the house, and we're going to take it and go use it for something else, and we're going to get money out of that, too. What? Yeah. I hate to put it simply, but that's fucked up.
Like, well, I mean, it's completely ass backwards.
Yeah. Like, I can't believe any of that, man. Safe Montana has no room to talk about appealing to children working in their booths to get signatures.
I absolutely agree with that. I got to sort of give Steve and his group a bit of credit for their tenacity, but, Montana has told them no several times, and for the last decade has told and rejected their ideology. Now they're bringing in out-of-state people, people tied to Patrick Kennedy and his group and stuff like that, who, don't have any stake in the game in Montana politics, but they want to come here and tell us how to run our lives. And I think that, overall, they've fought a good fight, but it's time to tell them to walk away and pick up something else. Montana loves cannabis. They want cannabis. They're going to keep cannabis. And they spent, 320 some $1 million on cannabis in 2022 alone. So, that's a big,
that's a lot of weed.
That,
That's a lot of weed.
Well, a lot of weed. According to the Department of Revenue, 78 tons of cannabis was sold in Montana. 78 tons,
78
Mr.
tons.
Zabawa. 78 tons.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, it's clear, and they're just kind of throwing money, and it seems like you're just wasting the money when majority has voted multiple times. Like, they had the vote to legalize it, and then they had the vote to take it recreational, and then they had the vote to be like, are you sure you wanted it recreational? And so that's 3 times that the vote has been like, yes, weed. We want it. We're sure. That's like 3rd time's the fucking charm, and they're still like, no. Let's go ahead and let's make it really difficult on weed, and then make weed really expensive and really hard to get because you have to drive way out of town, and maybe then they'll not want. No, that doesn't. No, we're just gonna start driving the fuck out of town. Like, it's not gonna stop us from getting weed. It's never gonna stop weed at all. Like, stop throwing money away, because it's just, we're gonna start throwing more money at it. How many shops are there in Billings? In the Billings area, Shepherd area, 35, 40.
Right around 35, I would imagine, at this point.
You really think you can muster up the money to fight 35 shops that have sold 78 tons of cannabis? You know how much money 78 tons of cannabis is? I guarantee you that money weighs more than 78 tons. And you can't fight that. Like, what the fuck are you doing other than burning money?
Well, considering that it's very difficult to bank, there's a lot of mattresses that are about 10 feet high right
That's
now.
what I'm saying. Like, and there's a lot of Better Call Saul kind of lawyers that are going to be like, yeah, man, we're gonna tie you up in litigation and make sure that they're not shutting you down in any way. And all they got 5 years max, and it's going to turn around and it's going to be 100% legal across the nation. They're going to take it completely federal, and there's no point. And I mean, hey, you know what? It's your money. I mean, I could take it if you want to just throw money away. We feed the homeless with that one place dispensary last Sunday of the month. We could really use that cash you're just throwing away to feed those homeless people, or we could get them some blankets and some housing with the money you're throwing away. But I guess it's your money, dude. You do what you do.
I think you should definitely kick him in. You should start supporting.
I don't think he is, man. That's him though. That's him. So on this, this was the, that's the exact word on this. This was the Black Bubba, right?
Yeah, Black Bubba, I think, was the
Let's
next
see
one.
if I got this one. I got them all mixed up out of order in the stack over here. So honestly, it did have a more peppery, harsh taste. Beer, the door. Let's see here. We had this one came in at a 13.36 on the total raw cannabinoid as well. It was also one of those lower setting ones that people would be sleeping on, man. Once again, coming in with the linalool, the myrcene, the terpene, and the humulene, rolling that in.
Yeah, this one's a really good nighttime one.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely the one you want to watch right before bed.
I felt the very mild relaxation coming over as we were smoking that one. It did have a bit more of that peppery taste, even though the caryophyllene is setting rather lower. I guess the way terpene and myrcene are mixing together in there, it gave it a bit more of a harsher peppery taste.
Sure.
A little bit more on there, but definitely a sedative flower, especially for a 13, something you would not suspect. See, I've already got the weed and words going on, man. I've already got the weed and words going.
Yeah, our son-in-law, and our daughter, they're pretty heavy on their consumption, and they really enjoy this one as well. He works at a different dispensary, and he really likes to pick this up as a personal pleasure.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the bags that she decorates, I've got some somewhere I have to show you because I mean I didn't do it with rhinestones because that wasn't necessarily my style, but I've got some that I had stickered up like crazy when I first got in here. I took some different bags and bind them with stickers and stuff, and like before I started doing a sticker board over there, and that's what I did. I take my exit bags and just make them look cool as shit.
Sure.
So I'll have to show you some of those before you leave.
I'd
They're
love to
pretty
check it out.
dope. All right, so I guess we're on to this white truffle here. This white truffle. Let's see if I can cue up the photo of it, man. Where are we at? We're about 30 minutes in, actually. So you guys make sure you're tagging your friends right now. You know, if we get it up, we're at 38. We need to hit that 50 mark, and we're gonna be rocking and rolling on a giveaway tonight. We've got some awesome stuff here on the table. We got some stuff from Mad Wolf Genetics. I've got some alien bongs from Daily High Club. There's some pretty good stuff sitting here tonight, man. So make sure you're tagging your friends and we're getting those numbers up so we can get this giveaway rocking and rolling. Yep, that would be the the white truffle right there, and that one's a I don't know. Maybe it's the way the light's hitting. It might look a little blurry to me. That one might not have been a good picture. But I try to always take them through that Mason Bright jar over there. That Mason Bright just, I don't know. I feel like it's a really good display job, man.
Yeah, it seems to light them up quite well.
Oh, Scooby Stack. Oh, man. So the white truffle here, I'm telling you, I'm all over the place with the equipment messing up and setting me back. I got all put behind. I was like, man. I was like, I got to get this set. And then we got stoned, and it was a really nice way to just put off the anxiety and be like, oh, thank God, at least stuff's starting to work. I still got to get it fixed, but at least it's starting to work again. And yeah, then organization went right out the door immediately.
Yeah, that was some definitely good pre-gaming.
White truffle. All right, so let's see what I'm getting here. Once again, linalool taking the top chart. Or is this just going in that one? I'm tripping. Double check it right quick just to be sure. Huh. This one's not showing it. I don't know. The list does go down on this one. I know that the other one was in a different order, but yeah, linalool, myrcene, and terpene bringing in on the white truffle. Mr. Burns. He says, Mr. Smithers, roll me the finest Thai stick. The finest Thai stick. You know, I've had a Thai stick once, but I don't even necessarily think it qualifies as an official Thai stick. You know, like it was somebody rolled it up like a Thai stick is instructionally rolled, but I feel like there's qualifications that it didn't meet. It wasn't in Thailand in any way. It had no weed and Thai relation of any kind. You know, it was just a Thai stick, as they say. And I was like, nah.
I think I've had the same Thai stick.
Yeah, it was like Thai stick by title. Oh, dude. I know the fucking, speaking of like Thai sticks and stuff, down in Vegas, like, you can find a lot of the Canagars and stuff. That is insane the money they want for some of those Canagars. They're like $3,500 or something. I'd be like, nah, man. Nah, they'd be like, it'll burn for 12 hours. I'd be like, yeah, you know what else will burn for 12 hours? Way more weed than that Canagar for $3,500.
That's a fact. But I think the problem with it is, and the reason why the price is so high is because you have to get it tested in almost every stage of trying to build that thing out. So, once you add certain elements, the keef, the dabs, the leaves, all those have to be tested. Then, the finished product has to be tested. And then when it gets packaged, so that's some of the insanity that we have to deal with on a daily basis here.
And that's fucking ridiculous. I'll be 100% honest with you. That is, I don't even know how to put it. I'd be like, nah, man, we tested the weed, but now you need to send it back so that we can tax it again. And we're going to test it because you rolled it in a tobacco leaf or a cannabis leaf. And then we're going to test it again. And then we're going to, fuck. At what point is it like, hey, man, we can clearly tell that you're just really trying to extort tax dollars and money out of me? Like, at what point can we stand up and say that? And they'd be like, nah, man, you're just a dope head. Like, fuck.
Well, in each stage of the process, you have a new sticker or a new tag that you have to put on these things, and they cost you, $2, a dollar, whatever. I mean, so by the time you're done with, a 100 plant grow operation, you probably spent about $500 just in stickers alone,
That's
just
crazy.
in transfers. Plus the paperwork and everything that you have to deal with. So, I mean, they've taken what used to be a really simple process under, the Department of Health and Human Services and just really complicated it. I mean, I definitely get the need for regulation, making sure that we got safe, good, consumable products out
Right.
there. But there's a point of just over regulating it, and then you wind up with a situation like you do in Oregon, like you do in Washington, and several other places where it's over regulated. It goes to the black market. The actual cannabis shops can't survive,
Yeah.
and you just got shit weed, and you got absolutely
Yeah,
I
it goes
mean,
back to the person. It's like, what? Where else are you going to go? You're going to go get that weed at the shops because they just went out of business because we were selling it for $5 a gram out of the door with no tax.
right.
And then, yeah, then that their quality of weed goes back down because what regulation do they have to keep up with? How do you know they didn't put some harsh chemicals in there? And there's not a lot of harsh aluminum going into the soil and whatnot like that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
And where do you get? I mean, you got a lot of artisans who are in this game, who do really well, all the way across the board. I mean, I'll give a credit to a lot of the Montana growers out there. They really, put out a great product, and I think the market has really shown.
Yeah, it's starting to in this just a year of rec where it's been able to start really stretching its legs. You're seeing a lot of different things, and I guess what was it you guys had called it the untethering.
Yes.
Like fuck, man, that sounded tough. People talked about that like a fucking term of endearment. Like Jesus, it was like the apartheid in South Africa. I was like, what? Like they start talking to them like the untethering, and it's like, ooh, I'm like, yo, I'm getting the vibe I got in history class right now when we learned about that shit. What's going on? And they were like, yeah, man, we had to go to this one shop, and if this one shop was like, fuck you, and it was like, nah, we're stuck. And we could put up, and then we had to pay and wait for a transfer, and then hope it went through. And then you get looked at sideways because your shop would know you put in for a transfer.
Right.
It's like, what? It's like, what, man? This sounds like worse than having to buy your weed from the Depot, man. It was like, man, that sounded terrible.
Well, and the other problem with it on the business side of it, you had all these patients and stuff. Some people, I think at one point we had close to 1,400 patients under our book, but they were constantly changing. Then you would get no notice, and then all of a sudden it's just like you'd have some sort of inspection or something. Well, you're 30 plants overward because we didn't give you any notice that this guy changed, dispensaries, and so there was a lot of that going on. But I mean, there wasn't.
It's like, yeah, but yeah, you're 30 over, but yeah, this guy, and this guy left last week, and we didn't let you know, but and he didn't. Yeah, so
So, by the way, yeah, you're screwed anyway.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
So, by the way, we're gonna need them plants. I wonder where they go. They got incinerated. It was like, oh no, we're gonna have to take that shit right now. Yo, bring the lighter and the papers. Come on. Meet me in the truck. Just stuff it in there. Fuck it. Like, yeah, they're just out. They're just robbing shops, and you think it just gets thrown in. Like, yeah, maybe on television they build these huge piles and they burn it, and the reporters said in there. You think they hung around for no reason? They knew what they were doing. They smoked out that field.
Yeah, they did.
They smoked out that field. They learned after the first report. You didn't accidentally have it happen on the news 3, 4, 5 times, and those guys back there walking back and forth, no gas mask. No, they know what they're doing.
They're back there enjoying the fruits of their hard earned labor.
It's like, yeah, man, we sat back and watched this guy grow this weed all year long, man. I've been waiting to chop this shit down and burn it.
The crazy part about it is they seem to come in right about the time that all the crops are prime. It's not like they know exactly when they start the season. They're like, no, we're not going to, hit it at the start of the season. We're going to go and fuck them up when it is ended and when we get the prime crop. So, I mean, it's almost like slave labor at that point.
Oh, yeah. They would say it's like, oh, we want them to invest the most money into it. That way it financially hurts the drug operation the most. And have that investment, and it's like, oh man, now right at the worst time for them to lose it all is when we're gonna hit. But yeah, no, they're taking some. They don't take it all, but every one of those sons of bitches goes home with a bag full of weed. I doubt nobody does. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have seen interworkings of things in places, and I just know that no, they're walking home with it.
I got no proof of it, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh no, I knew motherfuckers just in high school. When I was in high school, just in the town of Franklinton, North Carolina, you would know some dirty ass cops that sat around and smoked weed, bro. You would know they smoked weed. You would go over to your friend's house, and your friend would his mom would be dating one of the SWAT officers or something, and his mom and the SWAT officer would be sitting there smoking weed on the back porch, and you'd be like, "Well, I'll be goddamn." And I'd be like, "I swear to God, I'm not going to be worried about you anymore." And like, "No, you better still be worried."
Right, yeah. Because I'm taking your stash so I can smoke it.
Oh, man. I'll never forget. Now, that one officer, he never actually fucked with us or anything. But I remember one time he came up behind us on the highway and he flipped on the lights and he got it. I was like, "Oh, shit." And I recognized the car. I was like, "Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is really happening." And I thought he was joking, but now I'm going to get in trouble. I am so screwed. It is completely legal in North Carolina. I'm like 17 years old. I'm like, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I'm screwed. And as soon as I pull over, he just turns the lights off and goes by laughing and honking a horn. And I was like, son of a bitch. Heart just doom, 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 doom. I was like, oh, man, I was going to lose my license. I was going to lose everything. And I think I just had like the restricted license at that time. I was like,
sure.
No. But yeah, I tell you what, it was fire up a dab. I don't even know what I dropped in here. And then we're going to fire up sort of that amnesia haze. Oh, I dropped this garlic cookies in here, man. So this is some of that garlic cookies from that one place.
All right.
So I'll let you start that one. And then I'll actually go ahead and get this amnesia haze ready. Dude, when I ground this up, this amnesia haze smelled just so good. Like when I didn't really smell it when the nugs were getting broke, but as soon as I opened my grinder, it was just like, wow. I was like, oh, man, I took it over to her. I was like, you smell this. Like it really had a nice smell to it.
I have to give all credit to my wife and her crew. My wife, Michelle, she's the owner of the business, and she does a wonderful job with her crew, Calvin and Daniel and Deb and all the other people.
Ma'am.
Christine.
Shout outs to you. Very good job over there with the groves and yeah, this one here smells amazing. I am looking forward to firing this one up.
Definitely, yeah, give a shout out to Top as well. I mean, this is a really smooth product and has a great taste, great flavor.
Oh, this is the GMO cookies batter. I really enjoy that.
Well done.
Yeah, I carry that one around just as a personal smoke most of the time. It's pretty fire.
I can see why you do. Yeah, it definitely has a really, really smooth finish to it.
Yeah, and the Carta, I mean, honestly, that Carta too, it really helps make a lot of the different dabs. They really smooth. You get that perfect temperature. I keep that set at about a 500 for about 30 seconds, and it just really runs. What's going on tonight? Eric Wolf, that's actually the owner of Mad Wolf Genetics. This is Nathan of 406 Organics, man. He's actually got some of your seeds sitting right in front of him, man. They're looking forward to taking these back and giving them a try, dude.
Eric, nice to meet you, brother.
So actually, I think we're gonna fire up for one of our giveaways tonight, man. I've got a one hitter, and I think we're gonna do a one hitter here with the Mad Wolf Genetics grinder and his sticker and stuff. We got a little Mad Wolf Genetics pack with a one hitter. I do not have the second camera up tonight. The connector was acting weird. But yeah, we've got the grinder right here with his logo on it. You get an air freshener right here from Mad Wolf Genetics, along with one of his slaps. So a nice little combo pack for our first giveaway tonight, guys. So if you haven't already, make sure you're tagging your friends and you're hitting that hashtag THR. That race entry is opened up. Get your names in there on that list for your chance to win this first giveaway of the night. Rusty, what's going on, man? We appreciate you dropping in. He actually helped us get this rig here. When I stopped by Discontent, he gives us some really good deals on glass. I mean, when I stopped by the shop, I asked you, I was like, where are you getting your glass, man? Because I'm telling you, Rusty's going to give you a fucking sweet deal. But, yeah, this little dope son of a bitch right here, it was hidden on a little corner shelf. And I think that one might go out tomorrow night, to be honest with you. We're going to do the alien rig before the end of the night's over with. But, yeah, man. Rusty,
he and his crew are awesome.
Yeah.
He hooked my wife up recently with a really awesome Dr. Dab switch, the
nice.
Sean O'Malley edition. It's her favorite piece, and I'll tell you what, she's very, very grateful for that. So thank you, Rusty. We appreciate you and your whole crew.
I'm not sure how I'm feeling about these cones, man. Maybe it's because I was in a rush when I was packing them and whatnot. But I'm not sure how I'm feeling about these Lazy Susan ones. You know, I've had a lot of different like pre-roll cones that I could just pre-fill.
Right.
I feel like, I mean, this is the first night I've consistently rolled and smoked, I guess, the 5 of these joints. And each time I go to light it, man, I'm getting a hell of a, like a Scooby snack off of them.
Sure.
Maybe it's just these. Maybe it's just this pack, but I don't know how I feel about it.
You know, a lot of people seem to like the elements. I know a lot of people are liking the raws as well. I think we're leaning more towards the elements with our shop. We noticed there's a little bit of issue with running with the raws, you know, and we want to make sure that whatever we're putting out there is a really good product. And, you know, we're getting feedback from the customers and we're constantly changing and constantly adapting. And I know that other shops have their favorites. And I think, you know, the market will definitely figure it out.
Cool. Yeah, I've actually got some element filters over there in that cabinet. It's a funny story about this cabinet right here. So somebody told me, it was like, hey man, there's a filing cabinet sitting behind Office Max over here on King. And I was like, really? I'm going to go get that son of a bitch right now. I will take that filing cabinet. So I go grab it and I go to throw it in the back of the truck. And I'm like, man, this thing's fucking heavy to be a little dinky ass filing cabinet. So I get it in the back of the truck. Finally, I pull it out. And I'm like, God, this is like, it's a little bit hard to get a grip on, but it shouldn't be this heavy. I get it inside. I go to get it set up, and I start pulling the drawers out to put stuff in. And behind the drawers, tucked into the bottom of it, they had like glued 4 fucking cinder blocks into the bottom of this motherfucker. And I was like, no shit. I was like, they hid 4 cinder blocks in the base of it, like glued together for, I guess, balance when you pull out the shelves. And
Shit.
I had no idea. I was like, why the fuck is this so heavy?
Moving a dead body or something.
Oh, bro, I was like, dude, it's dead weight for sure. Alrighty, so we're on the Amnesia Haze.
Amnesia Haze.
Let's see if I can go ahead and bring up a picture of this while everybody's getting those raised entries in. I got this right there. Cool. So this was a pretty good nug, man. Honestly, some of the other pictures, they were the smaller popcorn nugs, which they were grams, so
Sure.
you can't expect them to look like fucking huge nugs. So that's
Right,
expected. They still look absolutely great. When I pulled that one out, that one just still had like fucking great bud structure. It looked good. And then I ground it up, and then it smelled good. It was one of those, I'm walking across the room and like, hey, you need to smell this.
Yeah, you know, she's one of the ones that our customers really enjoy. They come back for it time and time again, and it's something that goes quickly. We have a hard time keeping it on the shelf.
Absolutely. Let's see if I got it right here. That's actually the pineapple chunk. I usually try to have these written down, but with things changing and evolving, you know, things to come. There it is. All right, so on the Amnesia Haze, maybe these are listed like that, man, because I don't see, that one's going the same way, but the terpenes are not listed on the bottom there.
So yeah, on these ones here, I think with the terpene profiles, Nordic Labs was having an issue with their machine that does their terpene profiles.
Right.
And so if you're not seeing the terpene profile on there, you're probably not going to get that breakdown very well.
All good.
But
We
she's
still got
coming
the
in at a
cannabinoids, yeah.
23.81 as far as her raw cannabinoids go.
Cool. Yeah, we got the cannabinoids for sure. I was looking at it earlier. I was like, damn, I could have swore the last one went in the same order on there. I was like, nah, I think that one was different. But that's how baked I am already, dude. I was sitting there, and it's been a flower heavy show. And
Yes.
I'm sitting here just glued to the seat. I'm just like, fuck. Took the tolerance break and came back completely baked. You guys make sure you're checking that list. It looks like we got about 40 in the chat right now, and we got about 31 on the list. So make sure your name is in there so you're getting that chance to enter into that race. You don't want to miss your chances. You know, you get a little chillum, a little grinder from Mad Wolf, and the fucking air fresheners smell great. I've actually got one in the truck, dude, and yeah, they smell good. They smell really good. I got a couple other ones over there to give out later, but
I wonder if we could just put those up and they would allow that to pass the cannabis smell test for the inspectors.
Oh yeah, you're 1 to 7. There you go. You're fucking 1 to 7. Just go ahead and start
just
hanging.
Put that in front of a fan, like we're
like, nah, man, I got 7.
We got you, bro.
I got 7 air fresheners to one plant. God, that would be a strong smelling room, dude. Oh, that would honestly affect the weed. I could feel like, you take the weed out, your room wouldn't smell like weed no more. Your weed would smell like air fresheners.
I wasn't thinking on the weed. I'm thinking on the exit fans. Just put it on the exit fans. That way, it's blowing out air freshener.
Oh, there you go.
Put a bunch of
kind of like a fucking
Christmas
smoke
trees.
buddy.
That's right.
Turn your entire shop into a smoke buddy. Create a fucking almost like one of those decontamination areas from the walk in to walk out. It's like just. What kind of fucking scientific bullshit is the world coming to where we got to decompress the person before they come in and out of a place? Fuck that.
Right. Yeah. I know my wife and her crew,
so
they use carbon filters and stuff like that, so there's ways to get around it,
It's just so crazy it might work. Like if we go back to the 90s of Bubble Boy, like the Bubble Boy movie, if we build a huge bubble dome around the dispensary and you have to enter the bubble dome and then go in and enter the building, fuck, it would look so goofy and it sounds so crazy, but it's just so dumb in our world we live in. It would make sense that it would work. They'd be like, yep, that is exactly what we were thinking you needed. I was joking.
You heard it here, folks.
It'd be like, I was joking. They'd be like, no, that's the rule. I'm like, fuck. It's like that movie Idiocracy just became a real thing, and all of those people went into cannabis.
It seems like a lot of people are trying to use it as a manuscript.
And fuck, it's like, man, that sucks. I mean, but hey, there are some wins coming. Like the Harris U.S. versus Harrison. What is it? 18 U.S. 922 argument and all that stuff. With the argument over cannabis, medical cannabis card holders being able to have firearms.
Yeah, I think that was a really. So that decision came out of the Western District of Oklahoma,
mm-hmm.
And it involved a gentleman who got pulled over. He had a firearm. He also had cannabis on him. And of course, they, arrested him on the spot. And then later down the road, the United States hit him with a grand jury indictment, for firearms in commission of a crime. And it's a really significant case in the fact that, that particular judge, said that protecting yourself with a firearm is a fundamental right of an individual. And I think that is a very applaudable decision. I think it's very important that, that decision did get, cast down. And it certainly signals, some support from that. I believe that, what we're probably going to see is, the United States district or the United States attorney probably appeal it to a higher level. But it's significant to note that there was another case in Louisiana as well.
Right.
And that was actually in, I believe, the 10th District Circuit Court of Appeals. So it was in a higher court. And they actually stated, that even a person who was under restriction of a domestic violence restraining order had the right to have a firearm to protect themselves. Which, I mean, that's a push pretty far.
That's a big one. I will be honest with you. That kind of pushes into some of the other cases where they say, violent. If you have your Second Amendment right until you lose it because you prove that you could be a danger to yourself or others.
Sure, yeah.
And then that's where that crosses that line. If you're fucking getting domestic violence and you've had a violent conviction, I'm totally down to not. Maybe you don't need a gun.
Right.
Maybe you don't need a gun. If you can't control your hands, you can't control firearms.
Sure.
I'm down with that one. But yeah, no, that. I'm totally with, every citizen should have the right to protect themselves unless unless they've proven they're not looking to protect themselves,
And, I think, that case in and of itself is probably going to get a challenge to the Supreme Court, and there's going to be some guidance that's brought down on it. But I think they've, most of these cases rule off of, or coming out of a ruling that the Supreme Court did hand down. And it kicks off a lot from Heller, where these originally started coming from. the DC Heller case, and where they really took it away from the militia aspect and from the collective aspect to an individual right to possess, a firearm. And the recent decision, they basically, I believe it was a New York decision, they stated that uh, just because you have cannabis, doesn't make you violent. It doesn't make you an invirtuous person. So that's what they tried to make their big argument off.
That
Was
was
invirtuous
big.
person.
And some of the things they listed, because at first what I was reading was, the burden of proof lied on Harrison, and then they flipped it and it was like no, and they did side and say no, the burden of proof lies on the government to say that he is invirtuous, and some of the laws and things they jumped on to try to say he was invirtuous, dating back to the 17th century, and like Catholics and loyalists and like slavery, and it's like what?
Which the government's argument was absolutely ludicrous, and I think they pointed it out real well in their decision. They stated that in Harrison with their decision that the government, was completely off base with their arguments. That realistically, just possessing cannabis didn't really make you an invirtuous person, and there was no, violent intent. You can't say that just because somebody possesses cannabis, they're a violent person. There's absolutely no history in our entire legal system that can support that, and so they said, we're going to kick this back on its face.
And when I look at that stuff, and I'm like, man, they probably had the side of like the government. The judge was looking to back the government side, like, we got you.
Sure.
You're just do what you're supposed to, and we're going to be able to easily hand you this case as a win. There's no problem.
Right.
And then he was like, nah, man, they're just as bad as Catholics and loyalists and slaves. And then this fucking judge was like, damn.
And I believe he was using a public defender, and they were like, what the fuck?
He was like, what? I told you this was a simple open and shut. I can't. He's like, I can't side with you now. I gotta run for re-election. You just said Catholics, loyalists, and slaves, and that's just not how the fuck, dude. Like, they probably looked at him pretty bad. He's like, you had an easy case, and we were already handing it to you, and you just went and used that as your argument. You dumb.
Well, there was a 2-point test, obviously, the possession of the cannabis and then the danger aspect, towards the community or towards another person or something else like that. And I believe Harrison was even, when they pulled him over, he had a damn ankle bracelet on because he was out on charges from Texas on some sort of alleged shooting or something like that. And the judge said, if they wanted to disarm him, they could have put his ass in jail and denied him bail, and that's something that, is allowable by the Constitution to some degree. And so, he really looked at this through a huge lens, and I really applaud the way that he actually applied jurisprudence rather than applied politics. And they reaffirmed that sort of with that decision in Louisiana as well. Just a few days after that.
Awesome. I tell you what, man, before we jump into the next one, before I forget, we got to take off on this race that we got to run right here. Everybody should have got their entries in.
Certainly.
It looks like we're at about 30-something of them in there with everybody smashing those THRs and whatnot. Just run that list real quick for me. Make sure everybody's got their names on there. But that's fucking crazy. And it could have very easily spiraled out of control. Ankle bracelet, armed, drugs,
absolutely,
Oklahoma, just
well, in Lawton of all places, where there's the military base, Lawton Fort Seal.
Yeah,
I mean, so you got a lot of variables there that are working.
It could have turned into an episode of True TV real quick, just in a heartbeat. But it wound up turning into the courts. A lot of things had to fall into place, and the courts wound up handing people back their right, or at least not necessarily completely handing it back. There are still stipulations within the law. You don't need to be carrying cannabis and your firearm, especially a loaded firearm, at the exact same time. That's an area of check with your local law, check your local state and things like that based on those laws, but still.
And definitely consult an attorney. We're definitely talking a lot. And I do have a paralegal, and I'm registered with the Montana State Bar, but I'm by no means giving any damn legal advice. because I've definitely had way too much to smoke to be doing that.
You know, I mean, I'll tell you straight up, I don't recommend carrying a loaded firearm and cannabis simultaneously. No. Mm-mm. At least have it locked in separate containers. You know, if you have it locked away in a separate compartment in the vehicle or something like that, and yeah, maybe something like that. But
From the business aspect, I mean, there's a variable, have a firearm, not have a firearm, I mean, with cannabis businesses having, a large amount of cash and stuff like that, I mean, it does make them vulnerable, to people who might want to try to rob them or attack them or do something like that. And
in some
I
places,
think
they have armed security. They're allowed to have that on site.
Yet in Montana, we're not allowed to, have those kind of things, and I think if they really want to make sure that these things are secure, make sure that, these things are going in a proper manner, we need to be able to operate on a level playing field with everybody else.
Right now, you pretty much got to hire a security guard to have a booth across the street from your shop. And be like, look, if you hear some wild shit go down, whatever comes out that door, it has no association with us, just hit him with your truck.
I can neither confirm nor deny,
That's probably the way I would go with it. Be like, look, man, I can't have a security guard, but if I happen to have a security company that starts across the street from me and they happen to catch his ass just by coincidence, maybe they got rewarded,
We have some good military veterans on our staff, and we certainly appreciate everything that they do for us. And we try everything we can to keep them safe, which I know every other business that, that's out there is doing the same for their employees. And overall, the cannabis community is a very relaxed community. And, where my wife's business, 406 Organics, is, we're sort of out in a rural community area, and it's really surprising to see how many people from the farm communities, the cowboys, the people who are actually the salt of the earth of Montana, who are coming in and, picking up their pre-rolls and stuff like that and going out and hitting the combines and, putting in their 12-hour days. And so, everybody thinks that it's just, young, dumb hippies and stuff like that. No. This entire, cannabis community is beyond what anybody can even really comprehend.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people who like to keep it a secret. They like to keep it, down low because they don't want to put it in anybody's face, and there's people who use edibles. There's people who use honey, there's so many different products that are available, and THC products, CBDs, there's tons of people who come in and buy those products. And I think, trying to ban advertising like they're trying to do with these Senate or with these House bills and stuff like that is really going to be a disservice to the customer and being able to research the products thoroughly and become an informed, consumer. Right. And know what they're looking for.
Right. Yeah. Congratulations. It looks like Nick Goldie took the win on our first race, followed by Jacqueline West, and then Justin Trotter bringing in third place, man. Congratulations to Nick. Make sure you shoot us a message and let us know that you won the grinder and one hitter and things like that, man. Wrong one. There we go. Took a week off. Now I can't remember the buttons. But... yeah, dude,
it might be a little bit of that flower.
It's crazy that I'm definitely fucking baked. I'm baked to the gills. We just smoked like 5 grams of great flower back to back. What was it? I'd say this one kind of had a little bit more of a bite, kind of the same as the the Black Bubba.
But back end bite for sure.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, they weren't harsh. They didn't really aggravate, like the respiratory at all. It just. They're pretty good. I think I coughed a little bit at most on any of these. And these were good flowers.
Well, I got to give a shout out to my wife and her crew, Calvin Vondra. He's been the gardener there over the last few months. He's taken over and starting to do a really good job. He has, Daniel and Deb working with him, as well. And then we have Christine. She is our head bud tender down there, and they're all a really great group of people, and they deserve all the credit for everything that you've been smoking tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been some really good flower. Like it's just like it's sitting right here. The combo is you get that feeling of right between the eyes. I've got a heady relaxation and the right between the eyes, like the combo of all 3 good stones, and I'm just sitting here
and a good body tingle.
Yeah, it's just chilling, and it's good flower. And what was it? We didn't even smoke the. Danielle says terps. The lab was actually what is it? Nordic. Their lab was down on their terp machine or whatever it is.
We'll get the terps out very soon, Danielle. They have them coming for us, and we'll get those posted up on our website and try to get a little more information out on those.
Cool. But no, it's. I mean, what if? I mean, honestly, if I was gonna say on like the Amnesia Haze, it really came out with the lemon. You could smell it, the limonene in there. Probably. I'd definitely probably be filling the limonene with the myrcene and I don't know, man, what was it, the floweriness on that limonene. If I had to put a nose to it, just in experience, it really had like that. I mean, I could see it having some linalool because it had a lilac diesel kind of into it. So, but I mean, that one, if I just had to guess some of the terps, but they'll get you the accurate reports on them because, yeah, I don't want to necessarily let my nose lie. You know how sometimes a couple of terps can combine in certain consistencies and it'll give you a whole different smell. Nugget, what's going on, buddy? We appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, we've just been talking about laws, regulations, and the crazy shit the government makes shop owners do, dude, because it's wow. Just the stuff you've shared tonight, it's like, fuck.
There's
man.
a stupid amount of hoops, and the thing about it is everybody gives a lot of flack to the Department of Revenue and stuff, and those guys, they're just dealing with the dang rules that they have to deal with. There's some very, very great people that are down there, even the inspectors, and I think a lot of people from
Would
all
disagree
the other
with you.
other shops would disagree, and some would agree, for sure. But overall, I think the rules that the legislature keeps handing down is just more and more, onerous and stupid every damn day. And I think that's the one of the things that we need to sort of combat against.
I can't think I've ever heard in any trade, in any form of any sort of profession in the world, has anyone been like, yeah, I can respect the inspector. Unless it was another inspector. It's like saying nobody gets this. Not one job in the world have I been like, yeah, man, it's the inspector. It's a good guy right here. They're like, oh, fuck the inspector. That son of a bitch.
When they're handing out fines and shit like that, it really sucks.
Right.
But we found that overall, it's just like any walk of life, any human being. If you treat them with proper respect and courtesy, they're going to probably treat you with proper respect and courtesy. There's always going to be that dick in any industry, that you're just like, oh, fuck this guy, and everybody wants to run from him. And within the industry, I'm sure, everybody can attest, there's, those inspectors that everybody's talking about, like, oh, shit, that guy, but overall, most of them are just trying to make the program work, and they're not trying to be too overburdensome,
I get that. Well, I don't know. I've met a couple myself doing electrical work that weren't necessarily the nicest.
Oh, man, yeah.
And then I will say I met one working down in Camp Lejeune. He was mellow as fuck. That dude was like 20 days from retirement. He really wasn't, but he was like, I really don't like it. Cool. It's technically everything you need is right there. I am not trying to be a dick. I'm going to go and chill. And that's what he do. You'd see him sitting on the side of the road on the base anywhere,
sure.
And he was just chilling.
Nice.
It was like, yeah, man, he's just laid back. He just not giving a fuck. He's like, as long as you're on your shit,
retired on active duty, right there.
He was just like, as long as you're on top of your shit, I don't give a fuck, dude. He was like, I'm gone. I don't got the time nor the fucking blood pressure to deal with any kind of stress right now. You're good, I'm good, we're good. And that's the kind of inspector I could be cool with, But,
yeah, and we've ran into quite a few that have been that way, the building inspector and fire inspector and stuff like that. We've been fortunate to work with, and they've tried to, actually help get our stuff done. When my wife's put in her applications for inspection, that's one of the things I do is I work with several different businesses and consulting and trying to get their applications approved and stuff like that, working with them on, as far as the compliance, and really building up a better ability for them to take their license to a different level. And so, we see that there's quite a few people out there that are trying to help get this business going, and then there's a few of them that are just, going to be obstructionist and they're working against it. But overall, we find ways to work around it for sure.
Nice. Yeah, forget the inspectors, man. But let's see. I'm ready to drop a dab as we're sitting here. Let's see what we got going on. What's everybody smoking? Where's everybody joining us from tonight? Let us know what you got going on. We got Nathan here with us from 406 Organics. He's also the founder of the MCIA, the Montana. Uh,
The MTCIA.
TCIA. There you go.
Montana Cannabis Industry Association.
There.
Yeah.
So you've got a hell of a resume in cannabis. You've been smoking cannabis, growing cannabis, dealing with legislation in cannabis, laws of cannabis, like on both sides of it. Not only like in the actual office, but actually getting hit with the laws that come from those offices. That sucks, dude.
Yeah,
that's stressful shit, dude. Like just from the way you've explained it tonight, as I'm getting stoned, I'm like, bro, this is some stressful shit.
And people ask me why I smoke.
Right. No, bro. Like, if you don't smoke weed before you, you definitely be smoking weed afterwards. But, man, I want to open a shop one day. People thinking they want to open shops. They hear some of these horror stories, and it's like scary. To be honest with you, it's like, man, I don't know.
The financial aspect of it, just in and of itself, just all of the hoops you got to jump through. That's one aspect, but I mean, you're talking, $30,000-$40,000 just in licensing each year. And people are like, well, why isn't my cannabis a little bit cheaper? Well, because what used to cost $500, to get a license, now it's $5,000 for a dispensary, and then depending on what tier you're at, you're looking $15,000-$20,000 per year, every year to actually, get that license renewed. Then if you throw in your infused products, there's an additional $5,000. Plus, you have to have everything, C1, D1 rated. You have to have bomb-proof, fireproof.
Which I get that.
Facilities.
I get needing to have that, especially the way some people have labs. I could show you a picture of a lab. I'm not going to say the name of the place. It may rhyme with whack, but that fucking condenser was on a sheet pan leaning at about a 35-degree angle, and I was just like, oh, dude, that's sketchy as shit. Like, don't forget about the $10 spent at 406 Organics. Gets you one chance at the Puffco. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Thanks for the reminder. So, they're giving away a Puffco out there, and that'll be given away this week coming up, I believe on the 15th. And so
it's a pretty sweet little rig, dude. I mean, you've got one, right? I mean, we smoked out of one. That thing was pretty dope. Was it you I smoked out?
Yeah, Puffco Proxy. And then we also used that sweet Sean O'Malley, Dr. Dab, that Rusty from Discontent hooked my wife up with. And,
yeah, dude, that thing is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I all of a sudden lost all the attention in the house. The dogs and the dab rig.
The dogs and the dab rig. Woo. Woo. 15th is the last day to get it in. Drawing will be the 16th. That's what he's dropped in the chat there. Make sure you get out there. They got really awesome flower. I mean, we just smoked through an assortment of it, and I mean, I did not have one that I did not enjoy. Like I said, there was a couple that were a little bit more with a bite with that pepper, but you get that in your cannabis, and these were good flowers. And then that double bub. We didn't have the double bub here tonight, but we smoked that double bub over the weekend. And dude, that shit had me stoned. Like I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, that fucking high.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. Yeah. That's one of my favorites for sure. It's something that's gonna couch lock you back a little bit.
I definitely enjoyed that. Where is it located? I'm in, that, Chantou, Montana? But yeah, the address.
Where's the comment? At Shoto?
Yeah, Shoto, is that it? Yeah, so the address is running right there across the bottom, buddy. It is at 13213 US Highway 87.
Nugget Bland. Yeah, so we're going to be located right in between Billings and Roundup. Just a little bit north of the racetrack there on Highway 87. If you come up to where people know typically is the 17-mile shooting range, just a mile north of that on the S curve. you'll find 406 Organics.
Yep. Yep. Just down from the speedway and the shooting range, and yeah.
406 Organics is wheelchair accessible, Nikki. And the other great thing is the wonderful bud tenders. If you get on Leafly and order online and let them know, they can walk that right out to your car to you.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. You know, you get a nice little scenic drive out there. You get a chance to go to the gun range. If you're a gun enthusiast, you know, like we said, you can have your ability to, you know, consume cannabis. Not at the same time. I would recommend, you know, go to the gun range and then go get your cannabis or something like that. Don't get your cannabis and go to the gun range with it. But, you know, you can make a trip out of it, you know.
Yeah, it's a beautiful drive out there 90% of the time.
Fucking beautiful. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, as long as it's not snowing like crazy. I noticed it started snowing again tonight. I looked outside and I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, I thought we were done with this. I thought the last one was the last one.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the last one? It's the last one. It's not happening anymore.
We didn't get as much as California.
Yeah, but geez, that's crazy. The craziness of that's fucking, like, they're just shoveling it off the top of the roof now so that they can get ready to not have the next 3 or 4 foot cave in their roof again.
I wonder how that's going to do on their damn bud crop. I mean, they have to get a late start on that shit or what?
I don't want to hear shit about a drought. I don't want to hear shit about a drought, dude.
Because they're skiing off their rooftop. There's no drought, buddy.
I'm like, look, man, you need to go ahead and collect this snow and take it down there to Lake Mead and just go ahead and push it in and
start bottling that stuff up right now.
Dude, I don't want to hear shit. That's what they're going to be next year. Be like, look, man, we're in a drought. Wildfires. But what the fuck? You can't get it together. You're either under 6 feet of snow, 12 feet of snow, and you're on fire. There's no in between with you guys. You need to calm the fuck down.
Well, and then we got a volcano trying to pop off in Alaska. It's like,
oh shit.
I think Mother Nature's severely pissed off at somebody.
Oh no, yeah, California apparently. Fuck, I'm just saying, it's fucking burning. Then it's froze. Then it's burning. How do you not have an in between? Science says that it has to have a spot between fire and frozen, and it didn't. It was an ice cube on fire. Like, what the fuck?
Only one place in America.
I'm going shooting first, but let's do it. Yeah, definitely go by there and check it out. If there's the dub bub or the double gum, that's right. That's exactly how you said, the double gum. That's how high I was. It was good ass weed. I definitely recommend you get that one. The Amnesia Haze has that really sweet smell. That one definitely came in as on the top there. The lavender was really nice as well.
Yeah, that's that kickback one.
Yeah, that really relaxing kickback weed. I definitely recommend that one. I tell you what.
And the other thing is the races are going to be kicking up obviously this summer out there on the circle track. And for everybody who's coming out there, obviously, that'd be a great time to swing by and say hi to the gals that are hanging out in the Bud Shack. As my wife's friend has affectionately named the 406 Organics Bud Shack.
The Bud Shack.
So, yeah. And the exciting thing is for those of you who are out in the Whitehall market who might be listening, we will have one opening up very soon near you and also in Fairview, Montana.
There you go. You're opening up all over the place already. That's what's up. They're already expanding out. You got the Bud Shack, a couple new locations dropping. I seen they're putting some improvements out there at the racetrack. It looked a little rough from the road, but now I see they're clearing out some stuff beside. It looks like they're making those improvements. Dude, you're right down the street. It would be the perfect spot if you're getting ready to go to the racetrack. You slide right over there.
And we're reaching out to food trucks as well to see if they can, want to come out and do some food truck Friday or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And so,
maybe we've got the races and stuff
like that. Yeah, there's 80 acres. We've had some talk with some other people about doing some events and stuff out there. So,
dope.
We'll definitely keep everybody apprised, keep you and your viewers apprised of
absolutely
going on for sure.
Absolutely, that's going to be dope. Like I said, you said 80 acres, and when we went out there and took a look at it, it was, you got land, bro. You could put on a concert. Like, I'm not saying a Woodstock necessarily, but if you wanted to have it, and I'm not saying all Jim Morrison, if you build it, they will come type stuff. But hey, dude, you got 80 acres of land in the middle of nowhere for the craziest party that could ever happen in the history of ever in Montana.
You know, a natural amphitheater out there that just sort of plays real well. You're out in that beautiful setting, you know, got the bluffs all the way around you.
Yeah, it would just echo off perfectly. And then you're far enough away that nobody's going to bother you. You're not going to have to worry about a noise complaint. Who's going to hear?
That's exactly right.
The gun range is down the road.
You got the gun range and the racetrack. Like, you're going to be competing for noise complaints?
Nah. You're like, man, them dopers over there making a lot of noise. Ring, 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 ring. Trying to get it up. Yeah, nah, fuck that. They can go somewhere with that.
You know, if you bring out Willie or Snoop or somebody like that, I mean, not that we'd have the money to bring out anybody like that, but, you know, I mean, I think they would really not mind at all.
I could see some names coming. You know, I reached out to Tim at Secret Sesh, and we've been exchanging some emails possibly about getting some information on throwing a big-ass party. You know, and Secret Sesh, they do the parties all around the country. It'd be a huge pop-up. They drop it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Fucking like 100,000 people show up. And they do it in New York. And they do it in L.A. And they do it in Denver. And then like Toronto.
And I think you and I had talked about maybe doing a 7-10 party or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And, you know, that's just, so that's definitely the type of venue where something like that could kick off. You know, you just got to keep reaching out and figuring out how they do that stuff. I mean, I know how to throw a party. I've thrown one or two in my day, but I have never thrown 100,000 person ranger. Not that I don't think that would be the same out here in those big cities and populaces. 100,000 is something that happens, but I had 10,000 people out here in a field having a huge ass party. I could see something like that.
You know, I might have gotten arrested for throwing a major party.
I could believe it. I mean, I might have gotten a ticket at a major party.
We threw a festival on our property, and about 6 months later, the sheriff served my wife and I with basically. It was the most polite arrest I've ever experienced in the world of ever fuck.
What? Well, I need you politely if you would put these cuffs on for me, please. Like what?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. You know, he called me up. We were at I think the Cracker Barrel or something here in Billings. Fuck. And we're having breakfast, and our son, who had just come to live with us, a few months earlier, he was in the car with us. And I don't even think he was a month. It was like a couple of weeks, and we get a call, and it's like, "Hi, this is the Yellowstone County Sheriff. Is there a time you can come down and see us here at the sheriff's office?" And I was just like, "Well, what's this about?" And he's like, "Well, is there basically a convenient time for you to come down and get arrested?" And I was like, "How about never? No, absolutely not.
Not a damn time. Not one I can think of.
Let me book that. How about like never, bro?
November 20th, February 29th, bro. I got you February 29th.
How about 10 days after I die? Thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
So he basically, was very polite about it. He takes this. He's like, "Look, I'm gonna have to take you, and I'm gonna have to book and release you because your neighbors filed a fucking noise complaint, a public nuisance complaint, which eventually we got the charges dropped and everything else like that because we showed that we actually went through the entire process of getting the permits. We called the damn sheriff's office to let them know that the event was going to happen days in advance. There was no noise permit to be had and no noise ordinance because we were out in the county. We had sent notification to all our neighbors and everything else like that. And so, but we still had to go through the wonderful joy of all the fuckery. And my wife got to tell her mom, that before she turned 50, she finally got arrested for, a public nuisance.
Whoops.
And the shits of it was when they were booking us, as they were booking us in, they were like, "What charge is this?" And they had to go look it up because they had never fucking booked anybody in on that fucking charge before.
I'm like, what'd you say she did again? And it's called what? Huh?
Public nuisance.
We got to go look. Wait, they had to look up public nuisance?
For putting on a damn good party, And the shits of it was, we had several of the other neighbors, they were like, "What the fuck? Why aren't you putting on any parties? Those were awesome."
Well, at least you guys know when they say they put on a party.
That really fucking killed it for us.
When they say they can put on a party, they can put on a party because they've been served for their parties. So that's a fucking party. If you ain't been served for your party, have you really thrown one? I mean, I'm just saying. That's wild as fuck right there, man. Oh, let's see what we got. Ryan, what's good, fellas? Much love from what is that? Little Green Helpers. We
Hello,
appreciate you
Ryan.
dropping in, Ryan. We appreciate everybody dropping
Good
in.
to see you, bro.
We're actually about to jump into another giveaway, dude. Let's see what we got on the giveaway platform for tonight. I've actually got. I don't know what we're gonna do for the paid race. You know, we can either do that bong over there, that UFO rig, with the. It's actually got its own little mat too. It's got its like the cow and the alien abduction. Like, yeah, it's its own little dab mat underneath it there, and then the little alien rig on there. So I
Oh
might do
yeah.
that for the paid race, and then I've got some genetics that we can drop out tonight from Mad Wolf Genetics. We've got some Chef Smurf seeds to probably close out the night on. If you do want to enter in a paid race for your chance to get that dope alien rig right there, you know, you can drop to the Cash App. You know, you can drop to the Cash App or the Venmo. As always, $5 gets your entry. As many entries as you would like, you know.
It's a
And
sweet little rig.
it is. I sometimes I want to test function on some of them, and then sometimes I tell myself it's like, look, if I smoke out of this, I'm probably not going
You
to
buy
get rid of it. It's like I'm not going to get rid of it at all. Like, and I had a couple like that. I had a couple of them that I smoked, and I was like, nah, this wouldn't. I'm so glad this is mine now. I'm keeping this one. This one, we're gonna go to the store and get another bong for the giveaway because this one hits too good.
It's too.
It hits too good.
Nice.
And then, yeah. So you know, $5 gets your entry either at the Cash App or the Venmo down at the bottom of the screen. You can find those. As many entries as you like. If you do not win the bong in the race, you get a chance to win $10 on the second race. You know, all those people that enter get that $10 chance. I used to have this thing down, bro, and I'm so stoned. It's like I used to be able to just say this and not even think about it. And I'm so stoned. It's like I can't use weed and words at the same time right now. I'm struggling for them. I'm that baked off of this flower. And I mean, we've done a couple of dabs too. Honestly, this Deadhead live resin that we just did was pretty good.
Yeah, Frosties is kicking out a good product on that one. I got to give them a, definitely good shout out for all of their products that they're putting out. I mean,
Yeah.
we have our own business, but we also carry products from several other people, and that's one of the great things that has happened with the market is there's a lot of people who are coalescing around each other and
Right.
making sure that they're bringing top products from all of the different name brands and trying to bring it out into different markets into Montana. And I think that's one of the things that 406 Organics is really trying to focus on is hitting some of those rural markets, out
Absolutely.
there, bringing some of these top name quality products and stuff like that. And so, I mean,
Absolutely.
there's definitely market room out there for sure.
For sure. I'm just yeah, it's nice. I always enjoy dabbing, and it's a little bit of a different stone than you get off the flower. But literally, like I said, I'm sitting here so baked off this stuff. We went through the 5 joints, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm on that mellow feeling, and I've still got it right there. The eyes are kind of at the half hang right now. Uh, let's see what we got going. I don't know if anybody's jumped in on that race tonight. Let's see what we got. Oh shit! Yes, people are jumping in on the race. What do we got? We've got two for Gina, and then we've got two for Trish on the Cash App. So we've got about
Sweet.
4 entries in on the race right now. Make sure you guys, if you want
Justin,
to
have a
get
great
in
night.
on it, it is sitting right over there on the table. This little alien rig, dude, that you don't want to miss your chance to get on this. I don't want to drop it though, because I have a history of doing that. But look at this little guy. I wish I had the secondary cam up. It's actually got the little alien head in there, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna keep it smoke out. Maybe I'm just give you all a refund to keep it. No. Somebody's gonna win this tonight for sure.
I think that's definitely a piece somebody's going to want to put on there.
Well, it's got the like matching dab mat too. So yeah, this is a nice display piece right here, man. This is pretty cool. Yeah, so you get the UFO, and then you get the dab mat that goes with it. It's pretty dope. That's actually kind of the story of how this one wound up staying though. This was going to be a giveaway right here, and I wound up looking at it. I was like, man, I wanted a recycler so bad, and I hit it. And this thing, I mean, it hits well
He was loving
for a rig, especially with the Bear Quartz double vortex banger there. So
Nice.
that's the spinners just built right into it, you know. So you get that airflow, and
Yes.
yeah, and I don't know, I just really enjoy these rigs. Let's see if I got anything on the Venmo. I am so baked, bro. usually I'm sitting here just going through this. It's probably gone super baked. We took the week off and things like that. And yeah, I'm just like, usually I can just be like, boom, 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 boom. I can see what's where and have no problems with it. I am thoroughly stoned, man. I definitely recommend you guys, you get out to 406 Organics out there in Shepherd, and you get some of this flower. I mean, get an assortment of it. Try the lot of it for yourself. Find out which strains are for you, and then I mean, what are some of the price points that you guys have? What are the gram, the eighths, the quarters? What kind of the deals or anything like that are you guys got going on?
There's a deal every single day that they have out there. Like therapeutic Thursdays and stuff like that. You can catch it on our website, 406organics.com,
Mm-hmm.
and then also catch it on Leafly, and check us out there. And typically the price points on the flour is going to be $10 a gram or less. And then, of course, if you're buying an ounce or something, there's going to be a discount. But there's veteran discounts. There's military veteran discount, first responder discounts. Uh, you know, Obviously medical patients, they're only paying 4%.
Right.
So that's a good thing. And we strongly recommend, if people don't want to pay a lot of money, for their cannabis on the tax end,
Get a
definitely
card.
get down there to Alternative Wellness. See Elizabeth and the gals down there. They're wonderful people.
Get a
Get your
fucking
card.
get a fucking
Get
card.
your card.
Get a card.
Get your card. I mean, it's an immediate 20% discount. Like
If you buy like $100 worth of weed 3 times, your card
your
pays
card's
for
paid
itself.
for.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you couldn't give your money to a nicer group of people down there. They've been doing this for quite a long time.
Oh, I got it.
Elizabeth started with me and the MTCIA a long time ago as well, and she did a lot of great work with the organization. And everybody, they have clinics across the state, so it's not just in Billings. So I mean, I would strongly recommend, if you need to get it done.
Dude, I know when I got down there to get my card, I was in and out just like that. Like I sat down, we were all sitting there filling out paperwork for a few minutes in the front office.
Yes.
And this one lady was like, "My son owns a dispensary," and then everybody was like, "Shoo, what? Who?" And then everybody's just like, "Who?" And it was actually Kyle's mom, Frosty.
Okay.
And then everybody's like, "What? No fucking way!" So we're sitting there for a second, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're back there in the office, and she's like, "Hey, this is what you do. Here's your paperwork." And then she's like, "Go sit over there." And I was like, "What? I've been through this process before, but this is what, huh?" And the next thing I know, I sat down, and then I'm sitting here, and I'm in front of a screen, and I'm talking to somebody, and they're asking me a couple of questions.
Yes.
Just a couple of quick, simple, easy
They run
questions.
a tight ship.
And then the next thing you know, you're out, you're checking out, and you're good to go, and your card's good. And I was like, son of a bitch. I've waited longer in a drive-through line at a fast food restaurant than I had in there the whole time. I felt like it was just that quick, dude. It snapped.
They have it down to a science. They've been doing it for quite a while, and I got to give them, not only do they do it quick, but they do it very professional.
Oh yeah.
You don't feel like you're just cattle ran through. You feel like somebody gave you their time, their energy, and made sure that you got the right.
Oh yeah, you
diagnosis.
know exactly. As soon as you sit in front of that computer, that lady is asking you the questions. They're the right questions, everything right there. But when I say they get you to exactly where you need to be, that way you have everything you need, and you're not just countlessly waiting. You're not sitting there like, shit, what am I doing? Let me twiddle my fucking thumbs. Like the first time I got my card, I sat in the first room for probably 45 minutes. Then I sat in the hallway beside that room for another 20 minutes. Then I went and sat in that other room for 15 minutes waiting on the doctor to come in there.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that was a while. And then we had a conversation. And yeah, no.
And I think Nikki's asking, and which place is this? That would be Alternative Wellness.
Yes.
Nikki.
I do not believe that they are wheelchair accessible, though. I know that's a question she might be asking next. But their new location that they're actually looking at is probably going to be wheelchair accessible. They could probably handle it online for you. You wouldn't even have to come into the office, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's several accommodations that I think they would certainly make.
Yeah.
And I believe their new location might even be wheelchair accessible.
Yeah, the new one, I think is going to be, but yeah, not right now upstairs of where that's at. I don't think there's an elevator, or is there an elevator? Honestly, if there is, I've never seen it. But yeah, I'm sure that you wouldn't even have to.
She said that's who she goes through now. So yeah,
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wait, what am I saying? Of course you do. You're down there at that one place. So Yeah, they have a really close relationship with alternative wellness. I tell you what, let's see. I don't see anything else on the. Oh, one of those entries that Trish sent in was for. Okay, cool. So I guess we are going to go ahead and get those. It looks like we have about 4 entries into it. So let's go ahead and rock and roll and see who wants to win the little alien rig tonight, man. I guess it will be
And
an
the winner
easy.
is
It will be an easy one tonight. We got Gina, we got Nikki, we got Trish. Like I said, this one's gonna make a nice little addition to somebody's shelf. I want to start building a shelf like that eventually. Once we move into a bigger space and I've got room for it, I want to get some glass cases and actually start collecting some nice pieces. But
be a nice backdrop.
yeah, I'm not gonna have fine china like my grandparents did. You know,
Fine
fancy
bongs.
fancy plates that nobody ever touched ever. Like even when company came, like even the fancy company, it was like, nah, we're still using those cheap ones. Like what the fuck?
I
Dude?
think that's going to be the new age home period. You're just going to see like people know that's not a vase, and everybody knows it.
Natasha, yes, this is the paid race. We had the thing running, and we had announced it just a bit earlier that yes, this one was going to be for the paid race, and then we've got a few things that we can close the show out with as well. For the race, oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. It's all good. There's always another day. There's always another day. It looks like Gina's wanting to take this one right here. Gina.
Gina is the winner.
Oh, congratulations to Gina on
Way to
the
go,
win
Gina.
right there. All right, I guess we're gonna run it back. As always, somebody's getting the chance to win double their entry fee. Oh, dude, I'm fucking stoned. I am stoned as hell.
Yeah, it definitely hits the head hard.
I'm just sitting here, and I'm in a week off and back, and it's not like I necessarily slowed down smoking weed, but here I am. I'm just like, man, I'm so stoned. And I don't even know exactly what it is I'm supposed to do. I'm just looking at my dab mats and my rig, and I'm like, man, I'm fucking baked. And I look over and I'm like, oh shit, there's a race. I was like, I forgot we were doing one. But yeah, we touched on a lot of stuff tonight. The regulations, the House bills, the crazy shit with the Second Amendment, and what could have ended up as a segment on True TV. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it was one of those times has ended up on True TV. Something very similar. Actually, almost every one of them has been like, yes, he had a weapon and drugs, and it was like a pursuit down 95. Like, yeah, that's exactly how every episode of True TV went.
We had him out of the car.
Very rarely does it go to court that way.
Well, you bust out of the car with a damn ankle bracelet on. I mean, it's like, well, there you go.
Congratulations, Nikki Love. I will be getting that to you here in just a few. Make sure you shoot me a message to let me know that you had won. Gina as well. Shoot the page a message. Let us know that you won the alien rig with the dab mat. Congratulations to the winners of the race tonight, man. We appreciate you all tuning in and everything. Oh, we got hell. It's been a. Like I said, I'm fucking baked. It's been a hell of a show. A lot of knowledge, bro. That might be why my brain is cooked as well. Just the immense knowledge of regulations and the shit they put on you guys, and then smoking weed, and then listening to more about the intense regulations. It's like, God, my brain is melting.
Yeah, and I
Like,
think
it is like wild how they get you guys, and I hate it for you. I really do. Like we should really be doing things to try to help shops not be in such a tight position. And I guess learning about it is the first step. The public actually understanding more about these regulations,
Yeah.
and what's going on with them is a big thing.
I think the awareness in just your show is really important in doing that, getting that public awareness out to everybody. And you know, most people don't get an inside look at what most of the shops in town or around the state have to deal with, and so the more that we can get out there and sort of inform them, and I think that the better off they're going to be, as far as being able to combat some of these onerous regulations and get rid of some of the stupid shit that we're going to have to deal with. And I mean, there's still some fight that has to be done, and I think people really need to reach out to their senators and let them know that these current cannabis regulations that are currently being proposed need to be shut down. And
Jesus Christ,
we
isn't
need
that
to
right?
deal with the current rules that are in place that the voters voted for, and stop screwing with the cannabis laws, stop dicking around, and just allow us to continue to provide the damn revenue that we've been providing for the state. $50 million
I feel like
is
one of
nothing
those.
to scoff at, and you want to like piss that away and kick that bucket down the damn drain. Like, I mean,
I feel like that was one of the big things. It was like, oh, we're not getting enough money from you. Oh, why do you stop fucking tying my hands behind my back and let me get you some more money?
well, exactly right. Allow us to at least compete and stop promoting a black market kind of system, because this is just going to kick back to the black market. If you don't allow good cannabis businesses to thrive. And right now, you have a seed to sale tracking system. You have testing. You have a lot of things that are in place to make sure that there's safeguards and people aren't getting rat piss and stuff like that in their butts.
God, that's just scary. I've got those pictures somewhere. I'll have to find it and share it to you because, oh my God, when you see it, you're like, ooh.
That's yeah. And I'm glad that there's those safeguards and protections, because I'm a consumer. My wife owns 406 Organics. We have our own dispensary, but we certainly go around and we hit everybody else's shop, and we also carry a lot of everybody else's products, and we want to make sure that what we're smoking on is top quality and it doesn't have anything in it that's going to hurt anybody. So
Right.
I agree with some of what is going on in the market, but I think it's naturally going to evolve, and people are already implementing those SOPs and those strategies in their business already, and
Right.
they just need time to implement them. One of
Absolutely.
one of the stupid things is the anti-advertising bill. They're trying to shut us down on being able to even mention our name anywhere. So you're going to take $50 million from us and tell us to go sit down in a room, shut up, and produce you more money. I mean, that seems like a pretty one-sided situation there, and it doesn't seem like it's fair by any business standard or any moral standard.
Well, I don't see them telling me at any point that I am not going to be able to have shop owners like you on to talk about things like this at any point in time. So I don't feel that regulation will quite reach because
Sure.
I feel like, yeah, no, the FCC can't really say nothing to me. And if they do, guess what? My name will change. I will be Jose. I will be Jose something else, and I will have a whole new show that is like not quite the highest regards, but similar
Absolutely.
to the highest regards. And we will do some of the very similar things, but not quite the same things. And,
Live from an island not here.
yeah, live from somewhere. Yeah, it will be just like that, and that's exactly how everything works in the world anyway. If the government has taught us anything, it's like as soon as you get shut down, you just change a little bit and you're right back up and running.
Well, I mean, and you're never going to shut down the black market. If you put legitimate businesses out, the black market's going to fill that void. There's always been a cannabis market in Montana and in the United States, in the world,
Right.
Even despite prohibitions against cannabis.
Right.
So, I mean, realistically, the approach to now regulate it, and I think on the federal level, they need to stop dicking around and they just need to absolutely, legalize it, or at least leave it to the states to regulate and leave their hands off and allow banks to get involved and allow cannabis business to bank, because there's a lot of investment capital to be made in the cannabis businesses.
Right.
And I mean, I think there's plenty of opportunities for banks and legitimacy that they're holding back on, which is just absolutely asinine, because there's too many states at this point that have legalized it.
Absolutely.
And so, they need to just get off the stick, recognize it, and understand that, the battle is lost, and they need to adapt to what today's standards are. And people are voting with their damn dollars, to say they want cannabis.
And that's something else. It's like it's tax dollars. It's millions in tax dollars, and you're a politician who loves tax dollars because you're greedy as a politician, and tax dollars is money for your pockets. How are you going to vote yourself out of your tax dollars that you want to greedily keep anyway? So you're not only going to be like a greedy politician, you're a dumb greedy politician. Like what the fuck? I hate to say it, but it's like why would they take the money out of their own pocket?
Well, it's going to clearly decrease their tax revenue. I mean, right off the bat, if we can't advertise, we can't let people know what's going on. I mean, that's going to take a hit in the business that we're able to do. Therefore, your tax revenue is going to go down. And I'm sure they're not considering that huge hit when they're considering the fiscal.
How can you not
portions
consider
of these bills and stuff
how
like
can
that?
you not consider the financial ramifications of losing that much money if by voting it down? It's like, yeah, we're not worried about losing all of this money that we're already needing because we're in such a big deficit. Like, oh, it doesn't matter that we're already so broke and we're already so much in debt. We don't need this money. Like, what?
Well, the $50 million that cannabis contributed, to the budget surplus, there was a budget surplus this time around, and cannabis contributed directly to that. I mean, so when people say, hey, I want cannabis so much that they're willing to spend their hard-earned dollars on 78 tons of cannabis in the state of Montana, that is a big, like, hey, buddy,
the green puts you in the green.
It's staying here.
Yes, the green puts you in green. Like,
so
what is
it's
up
time
with
for Mr. Zabawa to just, pack it up and go home and take Mr. Kennedy and his project and take a, flying.
Well, fuck that shit. They can go somewhere with that because cannabis isn't going nowhere. Not one state has in the history of ever been like, nah, we made a mistake.
I mean, dude's been told no like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Like, I mean, if this guy was dating my daughter, I'd have to have a special talk with him. I'd be like, look, buddy,
a restraining order.
No means no, bro.
Means
like,
no, yeah.
I mean,
that's crazy.
The state of Montana has told you no.
That's fucking hey, dude. You can't. I don't know. At a certain point, it seems like it'd be illegal for someone to be badgering and trying to continue to force something like this.
Well, and the fact that people continue to fall for his bullshit, I mean, it's the same old tired lies, and it's like, holy shit, how many states have legalized cannabis at this point? Like, come on.
Well, I'm like, what argument does he have? It's like, man, didn't you try to get into cannabis and then get kicked, like rejected, and now you want to fight and say that cannabis is bad, nobody else can have cannabis because you couldn't be in cannabis? What kind of argument is that as a person fighting against cannabis when we all know it's like you voted, you tried to get in, you tried to buy your way into cannabis and got kicked out, and now you vote against it? Like, that's not how it works.
Well, and now he's arguing against the benefit of the state. I mean, look at how much this has contributed to like drug treatment and stuff like that. I mean, all kinds of different provisions, that this is,
it could really help the people at those cocaine parties he was throwing, They wound up getting like really fucking addicted to some bad drugs at his house, and now he doesn't want the money from marijuana to fund it.
Sorry, folks.
Oh, it happens. Yeah. It happens.
There went the fun.
That's right. We said it, Steve. We know about the cocaine parties. We heard about them. Steven Tyler said you throw the craziest cocaine parties, bro. And he's from Aerosmith, so if he's saying it, I bet it's pretty fucking wild. But
if it's said on the internet, it's got to be true. Right?
Oh, it's got to be true. It's got to be true. It's going down.
It's
good
going
catch.
Down.
I was about to jump up for it. Just a standard. Oh man, that's that garlic cookies. That stuff hits. I tell you what, though, we're coming up on an hour and 45, and I totally forgot to switch it back over to the comments. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, that's Max.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that garlic. This one really has that garlic hit.
Well, that was really Frosties, or was that?
No, this was the. This one was the top. The last one we hit was the Deadhead from Frosties.
Nice.
Both
shout
shops
out to the crew.
Yeah, both shops side by side, man. I really recommend their concentrates, 110%. Well, I recommend this garlic, and there's a couple other ones. He's really getting on top of his concentrate game. But that one place has got some crazy strains coming out too. He's got some really good flowers. And
beautiful looking.
Like I said, Frosties, I really recommend them on the regular as well. They stay consistent with their concentrate and products, and and you just stayed consistent, clean across with 5 flowers, right across the board. I don't think I've ever had 5. Well, no, the last shop that I had do that was, I think, the other 406. It was the 406 Essence. They brought in a bunch of flowers.
Okay,
and they had about five flowers. It really slapped. It was good across the board. So yeah, dude,
Montana's doing it up.
Yeah. I really recommend it. I really recommend you guys get out to 406 Organics at 13213 US Highway 87 North Shepherd, man. I just now cancer free. If it wasn't for medical marijuana, I wouldn't have made it through stage 3 throat cancer and still smoking. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Cannabis can save your life. There's multiple stories where medical marijuana has turned people around from the grips of fucking death.
Yes.
RSO, I'm not even playing, I don't recommend using it as a source of trying to get stoned. That oil is not going to be good for you in the long run. You're going to start smelling like French fries.
Right.
You start using RSO for a while, you're going to start smelling like French fries. But it is an amazing product for all sorts of medicinal benefits, and it's been proven, it starts to make like cannabis cells eat themselves and stuff like that, like you said.
Yeah, apoptosis, is something, and there's a good resource, Patients at a Time. They actually offer medical personnel some continuing education in the endocannabinoidal system. Strongly recommend anybody look at it. Saw Deb Bennett up there.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to link up, Deb, for sure. I'd love to sit down and talk with you for sure. Uh, and we had a cancer patient that came to us through alternative wellness some years ago, and she had a very terminal diagnosis and started off on the Simpson oil. And at that time, I think they had given her about 3 to 6 months to live, and she was very upset and was told basically to go say her goodbyes. And her cousin got her to the clinic with Elizabeth's folks. Excuse me. They connected her with us, and that was about 6.5 years ago, and she's still alive and kicking and doing well. So there's a lot of people out there that I think have a lot of great stories, and the fact that we're even fighting this with it having so many medicinal values is beyond insane. And I think that the entire United States government really owes people an apology for the prohibition they've had on it for so long.
Yeah, I doubt we're getting that.
Fuck
I
no.
doubt that.
We're not getting an apology.
I don't even think they got one for alcohol. And we're like, nah, my bad. Nah. Just
you're lucky we're allowing you to do it.
yeah,
Shut up.
but like, look, man, you're lucky that we stepped in and took every bit of it from you and told you exactly how you wanted it and how you were going to get it. You're so welcome.
And you can't even advertise. You can't even let people know where your building is. They just have to find it mysteriously. It's like, hey, bro, like,
look, man, I thought this plain pasty building was the NA meeting, bro. I had no idea it was a pot shop. Fuck.
I mean,
like, geez, Christ, talk about a fucking mistaken identity right there.
Well, and I mean, how do you get informed about any of the damn products or anything else like that? You just fucking shoot in the dark.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. You just got to be like, oh man, what is this? What is that? I guess you can't advertise. You can't talk about it. But no, we're gonna talk about it here. We're gonna talk about the products. We're gonna talk about what they can do for you. I actually need to get that other thing queued up. I need to get the terp chart back queued up. I had it in the Streamlabs OBS software, so I had like different terpenes.
Nice.
The medicinal benefits. It had a side chart where it had 4 or 5 different strains that you can find that in. It's a really nice chart that I had found, and I got to get that queued up into this new software for sure.
I think there's a lot of benefits of letting people know about that, because most people, don't really understand the entourage effect and things like that, and how terpenes and different CBDs and THCs actually work together. And I mean, you could have an extremely high THC value, that really doesn't do a whole lot for you,
Right.
whereas a lower one's really going to, give you a much more benefit with some certain terpene profiles.
Absolutely. Well, honestly, man, it has been an amazing night of smoking weed. I appreciate you coming over and talking terps and regulations and laws and house bills and and smoking some awesome flower. And honestly, I'm baked to the gills. I am.
Well, I greatly appreciate you having me over, and we appreciate everything you were doing to get information out about everybody's shop. And
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get that out there because I've had that issue of shooting in the dark and trying to find stuff like that. I want to try to help people find those things without having to necessarily shoot in the dark so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Because that can be an expensive trip to the range right there. I'm telling you. It's like when each round could be, either anywhere between 30 to, 100, $300 per shot. That's an expensive shot. You want to be informed about that information.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Well, Adam, I really appreciate it, and look forward to coming back and talking to you
Absolutely,
again
man.
sometime.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. We appreciate everybody tuning in, guys. Don't
Good night,
forget,
everybody.
we will be back tomorrow night for another edition of the Highest Regards Cannabis Review. We hope to see you all then. As always, I am Adam Dryman. I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing night.